Are you starting to feel burned out from trading your time for money? I want you to really think about that for a second. Every time you make money, does it require your time, your energy, your effort, and your focus right there in that moment? Do you have to show up for work, solve a problem, close a deal, answer a phone call, send an email, or physically be involved every single time a dollar comes in? Because if that's how your income works right now, then you're not building freedom, you're building another version of a trap. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm in a very similar position. At this time, all my sources of income require some sort of trade-off as far as time to get money. There's absolutely nothing wrong with working hard. There's nothing wrong with using your skills to make money. That's just where most of us begin. But the problem is when the only way that you can create income is by trading your time for money, and it's a problem that I've recently been trying to solve. That's why in this video, I'm going to show you how to start thinking differently, because the people who really build wealth, they don't just sell labor or sell access to their time. They learn how to package value in a way that keeps paying them long after the original work is already done. We're going to break down something that I call the leverage ladder. And once you understand this, it'll completely change how you see money, business, content, and wealth building in the digital age. So if you've been stuck in the cycle of working harder just to make little or nothing, then this is the conversation that you really need to hear. One of the biggest reasons I stayed stuck financially is because I was using an outdated model built for a different era. See, a lot of people are still operating like it's the industrial age. They're still following a system that rewards showing up, doing what they're told, being reliable, and getting paid for the amount of time that they put in. And again, that system can work to a point. It can help you survive, it can help you earn, but it usually will not help you scale. The world has changed, but most people have not updated the way that they create value. We live in a digital world now, and that means you're no longer limited to the people in your city or your state or even your own country. You can put something online today and somebody across the world can find it, learn from it, and pay you for it. Someone in Brazil, someone in London, someone in Australia, someone in Canada, someone anywhere can connect with what you create, and that changes everything. But most people never take advantage of this because they're still trapped in the lowest level of the leverage ladder. They're still trying to make more money only by giving away more time, and that is just exhausting. At the bottom of the leverage ladder is time and skill. Now, this is where most people live. Now, this is the world of hourly pay, salaries, shifts, appointments, gigs, service calls, one-on-one work, and trading effort for income. It's the model that most of us were raised on. From a young age, I was told that if I worked hard, I got better grades, I got a degree and showed up on time and just stayed disciplined, I would make more money. Now, this sounds good in theory, right? But what it really trained people to do was connect income directly with personal effort. So if you want to earn more money, you work longer. If you want to get ahead, then you become more qualified. If you want to keep your job, you stay reliable. And if you stop showing up, the money would stop too. And that's the biggest weakness of this level. Time and labor-based income, it will always have a ceiling. There's only so many hours in a day. There's only so much energy that you can give. There are only so many clients that you can take. There are only so many calls to make or projects that you can complete before you hit a wall. And trust me, I know this firsthand. You can be hardworking, experienced, even valuable. But if your value is not packaged in a scalable way, you will constantly feel like you're running on a treadmill, and that is why you have to move up. The next level above time and skill is intellectual property. Now, when I say intellectual property, I'm not talking about a legal trademark, a patent, or a copyright. I'm talking about your ideas, your frameworks, what you know, that's your knowledge, your story, your systems, and your experience, what your point of view is and the way that you solve a problem. Because your intellectual property can keep creating value even when you're not actively working. Think about that. There are people who wrote books years ago that are still changing lives right now. There are people who created courses, methods, business systems years ago that are still making money today. Their body may not be in the room, but their thinking still is. Their ideas are still producing value, and that is powerful. And everyone has intellectual property, whether you realize it or you don't. Over the last several years, you have learned things, you have made mistakes, you have found better ways to do something. You have solved problems that other people still struggle with. You have developed insights from real life experience. You have stories that can teach, you have examples that can clarify, you also have lessons that can save people time and pain, and that is valuable. Maybe you know how to build a website. Maybe you know how to start a business. Maybe you know how to market online, or you know how to get clients, close deals, build confidence, lose weight, organize finances, repair relationships, or just create structure out of chaos. Whatever it is, you know something that can help another person get a result. That is intellectual property. And once you start treating what you know like an asset instead of just something trapped in your head, the way you view time and money starts to change. This is where a lot of people miss the opportunity. They know useful things, but they never package them. They have lessons, but they never organize them. They have experience, but they never turn it into a framework. You have results, but you never document how you got there. So all that value stays stuck inside conversations, client work, and random moments instead of being turned into assets. But imagine if you actually took your knowledge seriously. You could turn your ideas into a guide. You could turn it into a process. You could turn it into a book, a system, or a set of principles that people can follow. Now, instead of making money when you're present, you can start making money from what you already know. And the beautiful part is you don't need to be the smartest person in the world to do this. You just need to know something useful and explain it clearly enough that other people can benefit from it. The next level on our ladder is going to be data. Now, this is where casual attention starts becoming a real business. Now, when somebody watches your content or reads your posts, or they listen to your message or connect with your brand, that is really awesome. But when they raise their hand and they give you their information, now you have something even deeper. Now you have a relationship. Now you can follow up, and now you can build trust over time. And that's what data does. Data is when someone joins your email list or fills out a form. Maybe they'll answer a survey or book a call. They may even take a quiz or download a guide, or they enter your system in a way that allows you to stay connected. This matters because attention by itself is temporary. People scroll, they click away, they get distracted, but data, that gives you a chance to keep the conversation going. And if your media is strong, then people will gladly give you their information because they want more value from what you provide. This is how real businesses grow. They don't just create content and hope that something happens. They build systems that capture interest, and they turn that into relationships. And those relationships turn into customers, clients, students, members, and repeat buyers. At this point, your business starts becoming a machine. Your intellectual property fuels your media attracts people, your data helps build a direct connection, and every layer will strengthen the next one. Now you're no longer just hustling for the next sale, you're building an ecosystem. At the top of the leverage ladder is software. Now, this is where value becomes truly scalable, and this is what I'm currently working on myself today. Software is when the system itself delivers the result. So this can be an app, a calculator, an automated platform, a dashboard, a tool, AI systems, scoring models, workflows, or even a digital process that will produce an outcome without requiring your direct involvement every single time. This is the highest form of leverage because the customer is no longer paying primarily for your time. They're paying for access to a system. And once you reach that level, things can grow in a very different way. You build it once, you improve it over time, and you let people access value through the platform. Now, that is why software businesses can scale so aggressively, and that is why subscriptions are so powerful, and that's why systems outperform labor in the long run. Now, to be clear, not everyone needs to build the next giant tech startup. That's not the point. The point is understanding the direction of leverage. You may start by selling your time, but then you turn your knowledge into intellectual property. Then you spread that thought through media. Then you collect data and build a real audience. Then eventually you may create tools, automations, templates, systems, and softwares that deliver more efficient outcomes than one-on-one work ever could. That is how you stop being the product and how you start owning your own system. It means you need to ask yourself a very serious question. Is how you're making money right now dependent upon you every single second? Or are you building assets that can create value without you? Because that question can change everything. If you're only selling your time, start documenting what you know, start paying attention to the problems that you solve repeatedly. Start turning your answers into content. Start organizing your methods. Start creating things once that can help people again and again. If you already have content, then make sure that it leads somewhere. You want to capture names, you want to build your email list, and create a process that builds a system around your message. If you already have an audience, ask what part of the process can be automated, productized, or turned into a tool. You don't have to jump from trading hours for dollars straight into software overnight. That's not realistic for most people. At the end of the day, the goal is not to work forever just to stay afloat. The goal is not to be busy every minute just to feel productive. The goal is to create value in a form that can outlive the moment you created it. That is how you stop trading time for money, and that's how you use your time and skills to create intellectual property. You turn that intellectual property into media, you use media to attract attention and collect data, then eventually you build systems, tools, and softwares that can deliver transformation at scale. That is the game. And once you understand that, you will never look at making money the same way again, because people who build real wealth are not just workers. They're owners of ideas, systems, audiences, and assets. So take a look at your current business or your career or your side hustle and ask yourself, where are you on the leverage ladder, and are you still stuck at the bottom? Have you started building intellectual property? Are you creating media? Are you collecting data? Are you building systems? Figure out where you are and then focus on the next step. The next step might be the one that changes your entire future. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. I truly appreciate it, and all of you have a wonderful day.